Chosen ones. Here's the truth about being a late bloomer. Top 1% secret. You may have felt it. A strange pull in your chest when the world celebrates early success stories. The young millionaires, the prodigies, the overnight sensations. And yet here you are, still walking, still waiting. You wonder, why hasn't it happened for me yet? If you're listening to this, it's not by accident. You are not late. You're simply right on time, on your time. It says you're A. Do you say it A 80 times? And what if I told you that being a late bloomer, a chosen one, is not a curse at all, but the most sacred of blessings in disguise? Let me take you deep into this truth. In the world of the spirit, there is no such thing as late. There is only alignment. You are not falling behind, you are being prepared. The reason the world doesn't celebrate late bloomers is because the world doesn't understand divine timing. But the universe, the source, God, the most powerful trees take the longest to root. The most indestructible souls are often forged in decades of unseen struggle, and the most luminous lights are born from the darkest nights.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Why is it that some people rise so early? Because their journey is meant to be visible. But if you, like me, have felt invisible for years, it's because the universe has been hiding you intentionally, not to punish you, but to protect you. You are a sacred seed, and sacred seeds are not planted in the spotlight. They are planted deep in the soil, where no one can see what's happening. And while the world is busy clapping for the flowers that bloom quickly, the roots of your soul are growing deeper, stronger, unshakable. You see, the path of the chosen one is not linear. It is not glamorous, and it is not fast. It is cyclic, sacred, mysterious. You will be stripped of everything you thought mattered. Status, approval, illusions of control, so that you may discover what truly does. Most people are not willing to walk this path because it is lonely, it is humbling, it breaks the ego into 1,000 pieces. But this is the very reason why you were chosen, because your soul signed up for more. Not more fame, not more money, but more truth, more depth, more realness. Have you noticed how the old stories no longer satisfy you? How the goals that once excited you now feel empty? This is not failure, this is awakening. The chosen ones are not here to fit in. We are here to disrupt the illusion, to remember who we were before the world told us who to be. That takes time. That takes pain. That takes patience. And let's talk about patience, not the waiting kind where you sit and hope something happens. No, I mean the sacred kind, where every moment of delay becomes a training ground for your soul. Every heartbreak, every rejection, every year that passed without success was an initiation. You weren't waiting, you were being tempered. Like steel in fire, like diamonds under pressure. The universe was delaying your arrival, not to deny you, but to dignify you. Because when the late bloomer finally blooms, it's not seasonal, it's eternal. Have you ever asked yourself why late bloomers are often the wisest, the most grounded, the most impactful? Because they've been given time to die before they die. That's right, the old identity, the false self, the need to be seen, the addiction to achievement, all of it gets burned away, and what remains is essence. The you that cannot be shaken. the you that is no longer performing but embodying. I've learned this truth the hard way. I used to envy people who made it early. I thought life had forgotten me. I thought I was cursed. But then I realized the universe was carving a cathedral inside my spirit, a sacred space so vast, so deep, that it could hold lifetimes of wisdom, compassion, and clarity. And when that space was finally ready, life opened, not with fireworks, but with silence, with synchronicities, with undeniable alignment. And I knew I had bloomed. So I ask you, what if your delay is divine? What if your so-called setbacks were setups for something far beyond what the world calls success? What if your loneliness was the space where your soul remembered its own voice? Could you trust that? Could you surrender to that? There is a secret the top 1% of awakened beings know. It's not about getting ahead, it's about going within. The deeper you go, the higher you rise. But this rise is not visible to the naked eye. It is invisible, internal, intimate. And that's why it's so powerful. The world doesn't need more noise, it needs more depth. And that is why you were born to bloom late, because you are not here to impress, you are here to impact from the inside out. And here's what most people miss. When you bloom late, you bypass the traps so many fall into early. You don't lose yourself in fame, in ego, in fleeting attention. You've already faced the emptiness of those things. So when your time comes, you are ready, you are rooted, you are real. And that's what makes you unstoppable. You don't need to rush. You don't need to compare. You just need to trust. Trust that the universe doesn't make mistakes. Trust that your path, as strange as it seems, is sacred. And trust most of all that you are not behind. You are being prepared for something that cannot be rushed. You are not missing your moment. You are the moment. It's just still unfolding. So let me ask you something that might shake your soul. What if the version of you that's blooming light is the only version strong enough to carry the light you were born to shine? This is the truth about being a late bloomer. It's not a delay, it's a design. And the chosen ones know when we finally bloom, we don't just grow, we transform everything around us. When the world sleeps, the sacred ones awaken. There comes a point in the journey of every late bloomer when you begin to sense that the world doesn't speak your language. You've tried to explain your path, your silence, your vision, but they don't get it. They tell you to hurry up, to catch up, to grow up. But something deep inside you whispers, no, wait, not yet. And that whisper, that is the voice of your soul. The reason most people can't hear it is because the world is too loud. But when the world sleeps, when the noise dies down and the spotlight fades, that's when the sacred ones awaken. This is the hour of the chosen ones, the ones who bloom late because they were born for something timeless. You see, when you are truly called, your timeline is not dictated by society, trends, or culture. It is dictated by truth, and truth is eternal. It doesn't rush, it doesn't shout, it waits, and it whispers. And when you finally lean in close enough to hear it, your whole life begins to make sense. Have you ever felt like your suffering had a purpose, like your isolation was building something within you, even if you couldn't see it? That's because it was. The late bloomer is not asleep. They are incubating. They are gathering strength, wisdom, and vision in silence, while the rest of the world is busy chasing shadows. And when they finally emerge, They don't just succeed, they shift paradigms. People often ask, why do I feel so out of place, even among friends? It's because your soul was never meant to blend in. It was meant to wake up. And waking up is painful. It costs you everything that isn't real. You lose people. You lose dreams. You lose the version of yourself that was built on fitting in. But what you gain is you, the real you. The you that remembers why you came here in the first place. And maybe that's why you've been delayed. Because the world wasn't ready for your frequency yet. But now something is changing. Can you feel it? The old structures are crumbling. The noise is collapsing. And in the ashes of all that false urgency, a space is opening. A space for people like you. People who took the long road, the sacred road, the road of awakening. You see, the chosen ones are not chosen because they are better. They are chosen because they are willing to face the truth, willing to walk alone, willing to be misunderstood for years, sometimes decades, just to stay true to a vision that no one else can see. That kind of commitment doesn't bloom early, it blooms deep. And when it does, it creates ripples that last lifetimes. So let me ask you, what if your entire life has been preparing you for one moment of truth? One moment when your voice breaks through the noise, not because it's loud, but because it's authentic. That moment doesn't come when you force it. It comes when you're aligned, when every cell of your being is vibrating with the frequency of your purpose. And that alignment, it cannot be faked. It cannot be rushed. It is earned through stillness, through heartbreak, through surrender. And maybe that's the real reason why late bloomers are so powerful. Because they've been through the fire. They've been refined. They've been tested in ways no one can see. And when they finally step forward, they don't speak from theory. They speak from transformation. And transformation is magnetic. You don't need 1 million followers. You don't need to go viral. You need to be real. Because when you are real, you become a portal for truth. And the world is starving for truth. It's drowning in performance. It's addicted to speed. But you are different. You are slow, intentional, rooted. And that is your superpower. So the next time you feel behind, remember this. The world needs more awakened souls, not faster ones. It needs more depth, not more drama. And that's why you were given the gift of sacred delay. Because you are not here to be impressive. You are here to be impactful. To be the stillness in the storm, the light in the dark, the truth in a world of illusions. And I'll leave you with this. What if your entire timeline, every delay, every fatigue, was the universe's way of protecting the purity of your mission? What if you weren't meant to win the race, but to change its meaning entirely? When the world sleeps, the sacred ones awaken, and their awakening is not loud, but it is unforgettable. The hidden curriculum. What the delay was really teaching you. Most people think success is about timing, being in the right place at the right moment. But the truth is, when you are a chosen one, timing isn't just about circumstance, it's about preparedness. You are not just waiting for the world to open, the universe is waiting for you to be ready to receive what you were always meant to carry. And what's wild is, that readiness doesn't come from books, courses, or achievements. It comes from the hidden curriculum of your life. the pain no one saw, the silence you endured, the inner battles you fought every single day, without applause, without recognition, and without shortcuts. This hidden curriculum is the sacred education of the soul. While others were collecting degrees, accolades, and attention, you were collecting truth. You were learning how to survive with nothing but your inner compass. You were learning how to stand alone, to rebuild yourself, to question everything you were taught. And maybe, just maybe, that's why you didn't bloom early. Because early blooming would have stolen your depth. It would have hijacked your authenticity with applause. Before you even knew who you were, the delay was not a punishment, it was a purification. Let's be honest. If you had bloomed earlier, you might have fallen into the same traps everyone else did. You would have chased status, you would have needed validation, you would have believed the lies the world sells. But instead, the universe gave you the gift of being invisible. In that invisibility, you learn to see clearly. You learn to listen not to the noise, but to your inner knowing. And that knowing, that's your superpower now. The hidden curriculum teaches things no institution can. It teaches resilience, not just the kind that keeps you moving, but the kind that allows you to be still in the middle of chaos. It teaches discernment, how to feel the difference between what's real and what's just loud. It teaches humility, not the fake kind that masks arrogance, but the sacred kind that knows how small we really are in the face of the infinite. And most of all, it teaches truth. Because when you've been lied to by the world long enough, you start to crave truth the way a starving man craves bread. And here's the secret. Once you've passed through this hidden curriculum, you are no longer the same. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't go back to sleep. You can't pretend to care about things that don't matter. You've been rewired. And that rewiring, that's what makes you rare. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. Not in a violent way, but in a revolutionary way. Because now your presence disrupts illusions. Your words carry weight. Your silence speaks volumes. You've become a mirror, and when people look at you, they see the truth they've been avoiding. But let me ask you this. What if the very things you thought were holding you back were actually the things building your wings? What if your heartbreaks were initiations? What if your delays were divine doors opening inside you before they could open outside you? What if every time you were overlooked, it was the universe saying, "Not yet, you're still becoming, and now you are becoming. You are stepping into your season, but not the way others do. You're not here to compete, you're here to complete, not to outperform, but to out-align. Your blooming will not look like theirs. It will not be loud. It will not be flashy. It will be real. It will be so rooted in truth that nothing can shake it. And that's why it took time, because your foundation had to be unbreakable. So don't resent the delay. Honor it. Thank it. Because while it looked like nothing was happening, everything was happening. You were being built in the unseen, sculpted by silence, sharpened by solitude. And now, when you speak, the world will listen. Not because you scream, but because your words come from a place deeper than sound. They come from a place of knowing, of having lived it, of having earned it. And this is why late bloomers are the ones who change the world. They are not products of momentum, they are products of alignment. And when that alignment finally clicks into place, it is not just a personal victory, It's a cosmic event. Because when one chosen one remembers who they are, the entire grid of human consciousness shifts a little more toward truth. So, here's the final question I'll leave you with for now. Can you look back on every delay, every detour, every disappointment, and see not failure, but preparation? Can you finally trust that nothing was wasted, not even the waiting? Because the truth is, the delay didn't just change your timing, it changed you, and that was always the point. The moment you were made for. And now here you are. After all the waiting, the doubting, the silent nights and unseen battles, you're standing on the edge of something sacred. Maybe you don't feel fully ready yet, maybe the fear still lingers, but something in you knows. This is the moment. Not a loud moment, not a spotlight moment, but a soul moment. The moment where everything you've endured starts to make sense in one quiet realization. You were never late. You are becoming. Your journey wasn't a detour, it was the design. Every delay was an act of divine mercy, shielding you from versions of life that would have stolen your truth. You weren't withheld from success, you were protected from misalignment. And now, as you begin to bloom, you don't rise with desperation, you rise with clarity. You don't move with urgency, you move with intention. Because you've walked through fire and you've come out whole. Look around. The world is starving for depth. It's drowning in speed, noise, and empty ambition. But you bring something different. You bring the pause, the presence, the permission for others to slow down and remember who they are. That's what late bloomers give the world. They remind it how to feel again, how to breathe again, how to live again, not by chasing, but by being. And this is where it all comes together. The reason your journey took so long wasn't because you were weak, it was because you were being humbled, not in shame, but in spirit. You were being emptied out so the truth could have space to live within you. You were being broken open so the light could finally pour through. And now that it is, your presence alone carries healing. You don't even have to say much anymore. Your existence is a message. Your story, your scars, your stillness. They speak. But here's the final secret. This was never just about you. Your awakening is part of something much bigger. Every time you choose truth over comfort, alignment over approval, depth over speed, you ripple out into the collective. You become a tuning fork for others who are still asleep. You become a lighthouse for those still lost in the storm. And the more you rise without rushing, the more you give others permission to do the same. You are not just a late bloomer, you are a timeless being, waking up in perfect sync with your soul's divine schedule. And now, you get to live, speak, and create from a place of knowing, not guessing, not pretending. You've become the kind of person who doesn't just chase moments, you create them. You are the moment. So I ask you one last time, can you forgive the timing of your life? Can you bless the delay, not as an obstacle, but as your greatest teacher? Can you finally say thank you to the years that shaped you in silence because they gave you the kind of strength no stage could ever provide? You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not broken. You are exactly who you were meant to be, arriving exactly when you were meant to arrive. And now that you're here, fully awakened, fully aligned, you don't just step into your purpose, you embody it. This is your time, not to prove yourself, but to be yourself, not to bloom for applause, but to root deeper into truth, because now you know the chosen ones aren't chosen because they bloom early. They're chosen because when they bloom, they change everything. And that, my friend, is the truth about being a late bloomer. You were never late. You were legendary.